it's really hard to balance on soft or moving objects, and as a beginner, it's really not useful for you to be doing that. So even if you're on carpet or a foam floor, I recommend just having a plank of wood or something that's very solid that you can push into. That's going to save your wrists a little bit so that your hands don't sink down into the mat, pushing your fingers back further than necessary. So being able to push through the fingers into the ground is going to be a lot more useful on a hard piece of wood like this. I do know you have to be safe as a beginner and maybe be on something soft at the beginning, but just consider having a piece of wood at least to be underneath your hands only. Okay, I want to talk to you about hand placement. This is going to slightly vary for everybody because not everybody has the same wrist structure. Now you might hear me talk about this again, but you need to check to see if your hands can flex to 90 degrees. You can see that my hands actually don't flex to 90 degrees. This makes it a little bit harder on my wrist to be able to do a handstand because I don't have the active range to do that. And by doing this, I'm actually straining the structure of my wrist. Now that could be because I haven't trained here enough, which you're going to see in the stretching video how to develop range in that area. But what I really want you to take away from this is you have to experiment with the position of your hands. Now most people having hands straight in front of them like that in a handstand is going to be the best thing for them, but it's okay to go from here to about 15 degrees out as well, and I prefer to actually be out a little bit like that as well, 15 degrees out from there. However, there are still some people that need to have a little bit more than that, because as you turn your hands out, it actually takes a lot more pressure off of your wrist. So you might actually see some people have their hands almost like this. If they have wrist issues, it becomes harder to balance, but it actually takes pressure off their wrist. But there's another way to do it. If you happen to be someone that really has a lot of pain in your wrist, this is a method that I use with some of my older clients, and actually is a method that a lot of people use that are in the hand balancing space that perform because it does protect their wrist longer. So this is what I want to show you. Okay, so if you are someone that notices that your wrists are having issues with the handstand and you're having a lot of pain back in this area, or you're having a very hard time stacking your body, then this is something I want you to give a try to. So right here I just have a plank of wood. If I lift it up, I have these two weights under here, and by putting it on here, I am actually creating a little bit of an angle. And that angle is going to take pressure off my wrist, because if my wrist can't get to this position to 90 degrees, then that's going to allow me to have a little bit more space to balance from. Now you got to be careful with this. If you don't need it, then don't use it. But I found that this can be something for people that do have some wrist blockage issues.